And good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jonathan McNamara from the campus of Coastal Carolina University as the JMU Dukes get set for their regular season finale today against Coastal Carolina. Michael Evangelista, Taylor Atkins, Steve Brown. Could not ask for a better weather day, guys. There's been a lot of discussion all week about everything off the field. Today, we're going to focus on what's about to happen here in South Carolina. The first time the Dukes have visited Coastal Carolina since 2005, which was a loss following the national championship season. So turn to you, Michael. And you look at this matchup, this is what we signed up for when we came into the Sun Belt. It was an opportunity to play for championships. Today, with a JMU win, they will clinch the Sun Belt East. Your thoughts leading into today's game against an opponent who is very familiar to JMU fans?
Yeah, I think going into this game, I listened to a lot of podcasts, and there's a lot of emotion behind this game on both sides of the ball, or both sides of the opponents here. And I think it's going to come down to the quarterback run game. If there's one part of Cignetti's defense over the years, when you look back to 2019, even as early as the Georgia State game, where I think they had 2 quarterback runs for touchdowns, that's going to be key against Coastal. They're going to run that triple option threat that we love so much. I think it's going to be either Jared Guest or Ethan Vasco to their quarterback, but they've proven to be fairly effective on both sides. So we're really curious to see what we do to adjust.
So last week, obviously, well-chronicled struggles in the early parts of the game on offense. An opportunity for this unit, which has been so prolific throughout the season, Jordan McLeod, to have a bounce-back game. Taylor, what do you expect to see today from the offense? I know Coach Cignetti in his pre-week conversation said there was a focus on the running game, trying to get that reestablished. Your thoughts on the importance of JMU getting off to a hot start on offense?
I know that we're 4 homers. I mean, let's just be honest.
Heard that.
But at the same time, if you're looking on paper and you see the Vegas odds, I mean, the fact remains is that we are still favored on the road against the Coastal Carolina team that's been very up and down this season. They've won games I didn't expect them to win. They've lost games I didn't expect them to lose. Cignetti kind of mentioned this, alluded to it in the Pat McAfee show. He was talking about, if we were able to win the East, that we've won the Sun Belt because we've already beat Troy at their place. So I'm looking at this game against the Teal Beach Chickens as we are playing for a conference championship today. Last year we had a chance to play for an Eastern Division championship. Today the team still has a lot to play for. 11-1 looks a lot different than 10-2. Absolutely. I still think, we said this last week, I still think the best parts of the season are still in front of us. I think this game is going to be one of those to remember. I think that we still have an opportunity to go to a bowl. And I think just to come out of this game, having won the East last year, if we can win the conference this year, and that be your first 2 years in a transition, I don't think any of us could have asked for a better. I don't think any of us expected it to be this great, but the team has come out and performed the way that JMU teams do.
I feel like we have to remind people we're 10-1.
Yes,
like it's not like we're 2-9
like we were 1-10
or 1-10. We're 10-1 in year 2 FBS. Yeah. There's tons of purple out here. I haven't seen a teal fan anywhere. There's a Georgia tent next to us.
Yeah, the Georgia tent.
And there's a lot of purple.
We drove in from the main road out there, 501, I believe, and the large tailgate over here, the large general parking lot, full of purple tents, full of purple flags. As we drove into campus, into donor lots, lots of purple. So
we're here,
lots
people.
of purple.
So, Steve, you're somebody who's always focused on the defensive line play. There's been some conversation, again, of how would this defense react to the loss of Jalen Green. Great performance last week against Appalachian State. They're going to be tested today against a Coastal offense that does some different things. Your thoughts on the defensive setup for today's game against this Coastal offense, and likely is going to be decisive in terms of if we get a win or loss today is the play of our defense like it has been all season long.
Yeah, I think on the defensive side, you're going to see a really stellar group of guys. We've got multiple guys playing on the line. We got multiple guys playing multiple positions. This is the game that I believe has been circled on that calendar. It's been circled on mine because we're going to win the East. And I believe the rest of your linebackers are going to be good. And if they think they're going to throw on us, people will be surprised. But the defensive secondary, you'll see a pick 6 today from JMU.
Michael, I'm going to ask you, if there's a player on offense, maybe a player on defense, if you were circling in your mind whether JMU is going to come out with a win today, who on offense you think is going to be the key? And on defense, is there somebody, especially against this Coastal Carolina offense that you said does some option way, who's going to be the key to success on defense for helping JMU to come out with a victory?
On offense, I think all eyes are on Phoenix Sproles. So if you saw what App State did last week, they eliminated Reggie Brown. Elijah Surratt had a ton of plays. I imagine Coastal's going to have a very similar game plan. Yep. We've been waiting for that breakout game from Sproles. I think we saw a little bit against Georgia State. He had over 100 yards. Yeah. But I think we really want a good game out of the slot, especially as an extension of the run game on an option. I think that'll be really big. And on defense, I think the Rovers. I'm looking at Chuck Winecki, yep. Q Reed, Jarius Reminick, the outside edge, maintaining that edge is going to be really key to make sure that option game doesn't spit outside.
And I need Walker and I need Fisher to both 100%. Be going sideline to sideline. They're going to both of those quarterbacks are going to play. So they'll try to mix it up on us and play both of those guys. It's probably the most talented quarterback room we'll face is at Coastal. The fact that you have 3 quarterbacks, and I wish we'd see Grayson today. I'm sorry he's not going to play, but the fact they've got 3 really talented quarterbacks says a lot for Tim Beck and the way that they've prepared this team. I give this team a lot of credit from where they were at the beginning of the season to come back from that. Everybody else had written them off, me included.
And Kurt Cignetti this week mentioned how impressed he's been with this coaching staff, getting this team from where they were to start the season and where they are today. Real testament to the job that they've done. Yeah, extremely talented group of guys, and I want them at their best. I wish Grayson was playing. We're not going to get the Coastal you saw last year. Last year, they knew Jamie was leaving. They had nothing really to play for, to be frank. I mean, they knew they were in the conference championship, so they were coming up to Harrisonburg and kind of mailing it in. You're not going to see a mailed-in Coastal group today, but you're not going to see you're going to see a really pissed-off JMU team.
Well, and we were talking a little bit this before we got on the air, is that this JMU team, I mean, that burden of being undefeated and knowing that was something that the whole world was watching you and waiting for you to slip up. There's a mental aspect to this game that right now,
absolutely.
Worst case scenario, this team is 10-2.
Yep.
Best case scenario, this team is 11-1 and arguably conference champion. So I think you can go into this game saying, you know what, that burden's off my back. And there's kind of more of I think they're going to kind of come into this game playing a game like you played in high school. You're playing it for the fun of it. Yep. You're out there and you have the ability to this team knows how they can perform. And those first 3 quarters, I think someone broke down the stats quarter by quarter last week. First through third quarter, those were offensive stats you haven't seen from a JMU team all year. The fourth quarter was All-American, and you saw that they could come back and play. But I think they're going to go out there and they're going to say, look, we've already achieved so much, but they still want a lot more.
Yep.
I think, to your point, they're going to come off pissed off. I think they're going to come out here ready to win. But this is a game that I think is going to be fun for them. And when they play fun football, I think you get some big victories.
Well, and the other thing with that is I saw a couple of players post on Instagram this week leading up to it, is that this is the only game left that's guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
Right. We have, if you're not following us on Instagram and Twitter, there is a great graphic that we've been updating that kind of lists the scenarios for where JMU will become bowl eligible today, but we need help to become bowl eligible today. And some teams around the country. So if you're a player in that locker room, this may be your last opportunity, especially if you're a senior, to showcase your talents to the next level. So you imagine you're going to get a highly motivated group of players today. I did want to change gears. One last thing just on, this has been a journey for the Sound Off team as well. When we started off the season, we first of all did not have any of this equipment.
No.
We didn't have a video stream. We didn't have a lot of the things that we've been able to build upon.
We were on a software platform that no longer exists.
It doesn't even exist anymore. So just guys, what does it mean? Just this journey, and I know all of you want to say thank you to those who have supported it this year. To be at this point, to be live all together, and a gorgeous day here in Myrtle Beach, and to have an opportunity to win a Sun Belt East championship. Pretty special day for all of us.
Yeah. I'll kick it off. I mean, the fact that we're all 4 here for the first time, mostly for me, because of me. I mean, this is amazing, right? I look around, I see the community that we've built. I see the community that's rallied around us. The demand, like we had a few folks join the Student Duke Club recently because of like what they've heard from us. I think the impact has been really awesome, and albeit like we're having a lot of fun. I think it's just a lot of fun at the end of the day.
I'm thinking back to when we, first of all, for those that don't know, John was the one that really motivated the 3 of us to put this on video, to do a formal podcast, to really put the foundation for everything that has become this. A lot of our early conversations where we were really impressed with an 8-3 team last year. We knew we were losing key components of we were losing Percy, we were losing Todd, we were losing some of our
all of our FCS players.
I mean, and we came in saying, what would be a great year? A great year is, can this team mimic what that team did last year? Can this team compete for the first place in the Eastern Division? Can they come out of here with a winning record? And can we come into our full year, fully transition next year, just kind of on and up and up? I didn't think we reaching the 18th national ranking, having college game day, being undefeated. I mean, just everything that has come across the board and the way that this team has done it. I mean, we haven't blown out every team. I mean, UVA, we had to come back. That Troy game was tough. That Southern Alabama game, they were driving it. I mean, and
a shootout in Utah.
Utah, Old Dominion, and last
lose our left tackle in the first play of the game.
Our 2 best offensive linemen.
And we mentioned this on the show last week that that the way that App State game ended, and I'm not saying it ended. The refs that last call is what it is. But for it to be that close and for it to be that controversial and for it to be that emotional, I mean, it adds another chapter to this rivalry. One of many rivalries I've seen that we seem to be making.
Absolutely.
And I will say this last thing. With the post that you made, I said, Southern rushed the field on us. App State took to the streets,
literally,
and we're climbing lampposts and traffic lights. And Coastal is making posts today about this being the biggest game ever at Brooks Stadium
in Coastal history.
In Coastal history,
well, I think it is.
This is, and their second biggest game, arguably, was 2005. Also, Jamie. So I want to let Steve speak, but just think of everything that's happened in the last couple of months. I never saw it happening.
No, I mean, I didn't see. I want to thank everybody out there that supported us. It means a lot when you come up to us and you say something about the podcast. It means a lot to me. Last night at the Duke Club event, people saying how much they appreciate what we're doing. We're doing it because it's fun. We're having a blast. But if you look back and you roll this thing back to September, and you look at kind of where we were starting in September, but then you look where this team was. This team's done a lot with a lot of people out. If you look at what we did in September, our starting linebackers were down. After the UVA game, we go to Troy and we start two guys that had never started before, and they lit it up. They lit it up in Utah. They did great against South. They've been lighting it up all semester and all season long. You hear, the very beginning of the semester, people talking about, I don't know what our wide receiver room is going to look like. We're really good in running back. We'll look back where we are now. I'm not saying we're not good at the running back level, but the wide receivers are the ones that are carrying us. You look at Jordan. Nobody thought that Jordan was going to be our guy. Jordan's our guy.
Potentially conference player of the year.
Yes. Yeah, should be the conference player of the year. I mean, unbelievable. And the stuff he's been saying on social media and the stuff that he's been saying in the press conferences about the coaching staff and how well they prepared him, it is a unbelievably good living history lesson. So if you've lived through this history, and we've lived through a bunch of history, I won't go down that road, but this is, and Taylor and I were talking about before, and I'll let Taylor kind of talk about it. This is kind of the hockey stick we're in. 2004, we had kind of a hockey stick that took us to the national championship. Now we're in the next level hockey stick that just lit a fuse, and now we're going up to the next level. So it's kind of fun to live through all that. This has been a better ride than 2004 was, to be honest.
Can I add to that real quick?
Yes.
Let's remember the last 15 minutes of the App State game. Going in overtime, I know we're all relatively in the same area. There was not an empty seat in that stadium.
It was amazing.
And how many years did we wait for that? And the
talk about students not staying engaged, for them to do what they did was incredible.
I got emotional because we never saw that before.
You could have put 40,000 in that stadium last week.
Easily.
100%.
It would have stayed.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So I just want to say real quick before we end this and preview what's coming tomorrow, but go. Yeah.
Are we going to end it? Because I think there's a couple people we could bring. I mean,
well, while you're thinking about who you're going to go, grab us some guests real quickly. Big shout out to Skyline Financial Partners, for starters, because this isn't possible without them. Jake Coons, John Connor, the Montpelier Collective, Jared Sherman, people who have invested in this podcast, made this possible. Thank you. It's because of you that we're able to do this. We're able to bring the fan voice to everyone listening on our various social platforms. And we just want you to know that's never going to be lost upon us. And with that, I'll let you introduce the possible guest.
I want to give a little bit of a teaser for our episode tomorrow. We're really excited that we're going to do a kind of a student forum, right? We
student roundtable.
The head of JMU's SGA is going to come on. The president of the Student Duke Club is going to come on, and the one of the students that runs the JMU Barstool account is going to come on. Kind of have a student perspective, but to have an early student perspective, I'd like to bring on a guest over here. Is John going to step aside? You want to introduce?
Yeah. Why don't you introduce yourself to the Sound Off listeners?
Keep that microphone up close to you.
Absolutely. Nice to meet all y'all at Sound Off. I am Zach Evans. I go by Goss Frigate on Twitter and all that stuff, and I keep track of the Royal Rivalry stuff, and I'm a marching Royal Duke.
Love that.
How do you keep track of the Royal Rivalry? It is literally
in the headline of my Twitter bio and everything like that. It's a 0.4 every team win, and it's half points to each team with a tie.
Now, by the way, ODU, we still hate you. So
I don't think it's even a rivalry at this point.
Well, to be fair, I don't think a lot of people have to check it that often because it's kind of just. I mean, it's a pretty
thankfully. And our next out of conference game versus Old Dominion, because of the contract that we had for men's basketball, I believe, that is December 9th.
We're playing them 3 times.
We're playing 3 times. Three times in men's, twice in women's, and then hopefully another time each for the Sun Belt tournament.
Now, you seem like you might know this. Do all 3 of those do the points differ because one's out of conference and one's in conference?
None of the points differ at all, regardless of whether they're out of conference, in conference, or tournament play.
Jeff Jones still their coach?
Yes.
Hey, we're
I
coming,
believe
Jeff.
so.
I remembered you in college. I worked with you at McDonald's in Charlottesville. We're coming. You still couldn't flip a burger now, and you can't coach now, so we're
There it
coming.
is.
Boom.
There it is.
Now, what do you do at JMU other than being a student?
All right, so beyond being a student, I previously worked at D Hall. That was a lot of fun time. Currently work at Hotel Madison, but I'm a hospitality management student
Okay.
there. You know, I study
Shout
eating,
out
drinking.
hospitality.
Yeah, study eating, drinking, sleeping. 3 fun things.
Love that.
You know,
Now, I might have missed this. Did we talk about MRDs?
I did very briefly mention it, but I am a fifth year or
good.
super senior marching royal Duke.
There you
I'm in the
go.
tubas. Let's go tubas.
Yes,
you know,
the
there's,
tubas.
there's 40 of us this year.
The offensive line of the freaking
Yes.
MRDs, baby.
Offense and defense. Going to be honest with you.
Now, you've been one of our more vocal folks on Twitter. I mean, like I said, when you came up and introduced yourself, I knew you from your handle, keeping the royal rivalry. But you know, talk about today. This is your first time to Coastal?
This is my
Correct?
first time to
Okay.
Coastal Carolina to Conway. I have a couple of friends who used to go here. You know, thankfully they transferred back to James Madison. You know,
Smart folks.
smart folks indeed.
Yeah.
You know, but very much excited to be here in Conway, South Carolina, and honestly, I have a little bit of nerves with this game. You know, like every game.
Sure.
You know, everyone wants to beat JMU. New kid on the block that talks a lot of smack, but you know, it's just the quality of our program. We have an excellence mentality. We want to win championships. We're not looking
Excellence
at
in
winning games.
championships.
Right.
Now, are you in the pep band as well?
I am also in the pep band as
Also
well.
in the pep band. So tell the students, look in the camera, tell them why they need to be at every AUBC game this
The
year.
reason why you need to be at every game in the Atlantic Union Bank Center, also known as the AUBC, also known as the Algerdome. I made a petition my freshman year about that. That's a whole different story. Yeah. The reason why you need to be there is Exhibit A, the UVA game, Exhibit B, the Radford game.
Let's
The
go.
students make the
It
difference.
was incredible.
It is such an electric environment. We need to bring back the Electric Zoo. We need to actually formally rename our student section the Electric Zoo, like we did.
It's on you guys. You guys can have
It totally is
baby.
100%
I think
on
we
the
need
student.
another member of the sound off.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. I'm getting jazzed up right here.
Well, I mean, I listen, the student attendance at basketball games, even the last couple of years. I mean, when we went to the games at the Convo,
Totally
you went to the
different
games at the Convo, the
experience.
students showed up.
I went to
When we
Godwin.
went to the game,
Totally
the
different.
students weren't showing up. But I mean, even some of the you know, games that weren't that big of a game last, those two end zones were filling up with students. I mean, the
Absolutely.
student crowd is really, really good at the AUBC.
You know, it's a lot of influence, you know, being able to be right there, especially on free throws. You're making a whole lot of noise, making a whole lot of distractions. That could definitely help you get the difference between extra points there and no points whatsoever.
And to that point, Michael, talk a little bit about, you know, a lot of alumni that have not been back to the AUBC, they have a certain perception of JMU basketball, both as a
Yes.
facility and kind of the product on the court for last couple of decades. Explain just how different it is right now.
Number one, I was taken aback about the quality of the stadium.
Yeah.
Just how beautiful it was. It was very easy to get in and out. Awesome. And also that the noise.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
it seats what, 8,500, 9,000 people, but it is designed to keep the noise on the court. And I've heard about it. I saw it on TV, but to be there in person for the first time, it was unreal.
Totally
And
different
It's
experience.
totally different
Yeah.
experience. And like, you're right. The students are right on top of the court. So when you're shooting free throws on the opponent's side, that's all you hear. That's all you see. So it was an unreal experience. It was a lot louder, larger, everything you can imagine. Definitely different from remember the yellow lights that were in the
Yes,
old
yes.
Convo? I always thought that the players would fall down that ramp.
This
It
sounded,
was just very
but
different.
this sounded like the combo in the early 80s.
Exactly.
This is what it was like. And at Godwin, when the stadium, when your seat shook, it was on that night on Friday night with Radford in the UVA game. That place was rocking.
Rocking.
And I love that the students don't let you get away with crap.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
right.
all over the other side, which I loved. It was wonderful.
We're going to bring back John here. I want to say, one, thank you for coming
Absolutely.
out today.
Thank y'all for having
Thank
me
you
on,
for giving
on
a
the
little
show.
student perspective.
Really
Hey,
appreciate
wait,
all
before
y'all.
you go, let's talk about your Batman utility belt.
Oh,
here.
Batman utility
that holds,
belt.
that holds beers.
You
That
know,
is cool.
Pit
He's making
Viper
all
had a
Daniel
sale,
so proud.
you
God, I
know,
love that.
and it looked like it was straight out of the 90s, something that like the Richmond Renegades would
Yes,
wear.
that's exactly what it looks
You know,
like.
or old Taco Bell. You know, and I was just like, I gotta have it.
No,
you
look
know.
at that.
Richmond Renegades
You had a little
reference.
change
Love
belt
that.
on there. This would be
Oh,
great.
Those are the
Also,
Renegades.
we're
As
trying to
somebody
keep
who
this
played for the
PG,
Junior Renegades.
But that was
That
full
is
of
the
beer.
No way, you
exact-
played for the
Yes,
Junior
I did.
Renegades?
That is the exact color of our jersey.
Oh, my dad still has a shirt.
Amazing
It's the,
shout out.
It's the purple, teal, and the pink. It is so gorgeous.
He needs to reload. You only have 2 beers left.
Well,
and there's
don't
4
worry,
empty
I got plenty in the
canisters.
cooler.
Got plenty of time. All right, Carol, you want to come on?
Hey,
All right.
What do you
Thank
want?
you.
cheers.
Carol
Thank all y'all
Bonazzi
for
is
having
going
me
to come on from
course.
JMU Nation
We're gonna
because
have
we
to have
are
him come on more often.
so grateful to be piggybacking off her site today. Carol, the holidays are coming. At least I've heard rumors. And I've heard rumors that
Already.
you might have a sale,
Yes.
Keep that
Black
up there.
Friday
I think there's a
sale
sale right now.
continuing through the week.
Yes.
What do you got going on?
So we started the Black Friday sale on Black Friday, obviously. But it's running through the weekend and then Cyber Monday on Monday. So 15% off the whole everything on the site. No minimum order. Use the code holiday15. If you purchase $200, 20%
You're gonna
off.
do, right?
It's
I mean,
gonna happen.
Holiday 20. And if you purchase $400, it's 25% off. So holiday 25. I have the JMU Solo stove. So only place to get a JMU engraved Solo
fire pit
stove.
weather. Fire pit weather in a
Yeah,
big
which
time
is
way.
awesome.
myself,
It's ready
I treat
for it.
myself
And
to a
then-
solo
I
stove.
think it's
eventually.
time, especially after your
So,
Pat McAfee.
I-
performance.
Purse straps. I have this sweatshirt. What do I got on? This necklace, nice little
Got your
Kyle Calvin
necklace on.
necklace.
The
You get
purse.
these cool little
Got the Go Dukes on there.
Go Dukes.
The question is, what does Carol not have?
I need more men's stuff. I have like the Hawaiian shirt
That's
for
fair. There you
guys. Got some polo shirts coming. Got some quarter zips coming for guys.
And again, though, when you buy something from JMU Nation, you're
Fif-
supporting JMU.
According
Athletics.
to, yeah, so 15% of the sales price of everything on the store goes back to JMU. Plus, I donate on top of that as well.
Nice.
Awesome. Love that.
And she's at every game, people.
What do you think of
Almost
today's
every
game?
Truthfully,
This is a weird. It's like a weird one, right? It's like on one hand, I'm like, we're gonna kill him, and on the other hand, I'm a little nervous again. So, I don't know. I don't know which way the pendulum's
Pendulum's
going.
gonna
You know,
swing.
It feels like Georgia State to me. Is this
Yeah,
what
I
this
would
feels
agree
like?
with
what
you on
that
that.
and
Yeah.
and,
well,
and
we're always gonna get everyone's A game. I think that's what it is. We're
Right.
gonna be
Always.
everyone's Super Bowl.
Always.
It's we have a huge target on our back, so there's always that like
It's just what you want.
that's what we signed up
want
for.
to be the king.
I mean,
on
the
top of
the
mountain.
defense kept us in the game last week. The offense didn't click. If the offense clicks to get again today, like we did, I think we run away. If the offense struggles like last week, then defense is going to have to step up. So it's
No struggle this week, baby. No
okay.
struggle.
I believe you, Steve.
Taylor,
believe you, Steve.
do we have one more guest?
Look at us. We're
Chris is
literally
going-
just
we're
pulling
live
people
TV, pulling people
from the
tailgate.
tailgate.
I will say, while we wait
We
for
may
him to
have
come up,
libations come on.
there is only
stage.
one
You're with you,
reason
you're
that
fine.
this broadcast exists today, and other than Barry Sedimon finding an adapter in his bag, Chandler Fortune, who I know won't come on camera, but he should come on
I'm
camera.
waving at him right now.
The amount of tech work that was done, like Genius Bar has nothing on Chandler. So Chandler, bravo, buddy. You continue to amaze me. And again, we'll give you a raise off what you're currently making, which for those listening is
100%.
100% raise off of what you're making. I was never a good math guy, but I think 100% times 0 is still 0. So thank you, Chandler. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Doing great. Thanks for having me.
First of all, post Thanksgiving, great crowd of Dukes here, Conway, South Carolina. Opportunity to play for a championship. Just your thoughts on.
Hold on.
on
Let the man
opportunity-
introduce
I'm
himself.
sorry,
first.
we know
I
it.
mean, we
I forget that
everyone
not
knows
everybody
it.
doesn't
Yeah,
know
yeah.
you.
That's true.
This is what happens when you do a podcast with your friends. Introduce yourself
Yeah.
to the Jamie Nation.
My name is Chris Ward. I've been part of the Duke Club community now since,
Huh?
oh God, probably,
He's kind of a big deal, guys.
yeah, probably now for, 12, almost 15 years, graduated in 2014, 2015 through the business school. It's absolutely great. And yeah, but just been following JMU along this ride ever since.
Die hard, even though he lived through the Withers years.
That's true.
Yeah, lived through the Withers years.
Lots of
went
offense.
to
Survived.
Frisco all
Survived
three
the Withers
times.
years.
Survived the Withers years.
Well, 3 times in the recent years, not
Yes.
2004, of course.
So, to the original question, though, thoughts on an amazing day, opportunity to play for a championship with a huge turnout of JMU fans here in Conway, South Carolina, opportunity for redemption for the game that we had in 2005, which a lot of us remember. Yeah, your
Absolutely.
thoughts?
Well, I think this is going to be absolutely incredible. I mean, I think just looking, I know that you guys can't see behind the camera right now, but we have such a huge contingent of JMU fans here that have made the trip. And, I think ultimately, the Carolina fans, they're not here right now, at least from a visual standpoint. So I don't
Georgia
think they're
fans
gonna
are
show
here.
up. Yeah.
There's a Georgia.
I
10.
see more Georgia fans, and I'm not kidding. Literal more Georgia fans than I see Carolina fans. Here.
Carol, do you want to ask Tim? First of all, introduce Tim Miller.
So I'd like
You're
to
a host
introduce
now.
you to
Congratulations, you're also
my
hired.
dear friend Tim Miller. Tim, you
Oh,
want
you
to say
stay.
hi and tell
You
people
want to ask him a
that
question?
may not know which I
Everyone's a
doubt,
host
but
today.
who you
Awesome, I
are
love
and
it.
what you do at JMU.
Sure. Tim Miller, Vice President for Student Affairs, 96 and 2000 graduate, and more importantly, married to Jamie Jones Miller, 99 graduate, who played women's basketball at JMU.
Gotta help him there.
Tim, I'm gonna ask you a question. Just setting up the stage for today's game. 10-1, opportunity to play for a championship, but stepping back a little bit, the fact that this season has been such a magical ride for, obviously some of the older alums like us and people who've gone through so much with this program, watched it grow from the early days, to the students who have been able to have probably one of their more magical opportunities, especially with everything that happened during COVID. This has had to have been a special year for you, especially getting to see that through the lens of so many students who showed up in a massive way all season long for JMU. Do you have a message maybe for those students who have embraced this program, embraced UMU athletics in a way that some of us thought was never possible?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. I mean, I came here in '92 as a freshman. I think in 4 years of college, I went to 4 football games. And then I worked for 4 more years after that. I went to 3 more games total. So in 8 years, I went to 7 games. Jamie and I got together in 2000, got married, and then got season tickets right after that. And we've been going steadily, had season tickets since I think about 2002. And when I watch what's happened just in the 5.5 years I've been back on campus, I have to call it miraculous. When you look at what has happened on this campus, when you look at how, I would always tell people that JMU is a school that has sports. It was not a sports school for me when I was here. It was extra, right? It was a thing you could do if you wanted, but it wasn't a thing.
It was a social event.
Right, exactly. And it was extra. And when I think about our students, they would think of the football game as an hour and a half long commitment. It's a half of football. It's a delay in the party, and then you go back out. I have to be honest with you. Twice this season, I've been on the field crying, tears on my face. Halloween, and the last game, because I'm looking up and I'm seeing something I've never seen at JMU before, and that is students, parents, alumni, everybody in those stands cheering for a team like they've never done before in my life, at least. And I'm 49, so I've seen this for a little while. There was just something really magical in those last 2 games for me. And I'm so proud of our students. They showed up. I mean, we had students camping out starting Wednesday.
Unbelievable.
They weren't allowed to
So
camp out
awesome.
until Friday, and they didn't care. So,
And this is our third
Yeah,
this is our third
that's
game
what
day.
I'm saying.
It's not like it was our first. It was our
Right.
third one.
And I would ask you, what do you think the potential long-term impacts of now having a student body that understands that there's so many more opportunities for them to show their pride for the
Right.
university. And we saw it in the basketball game, for example, with a huge turnout from the basketball game. But this is going to create engaged students, create engaged alumni.
Right.
But potential students seeing what they've seen on campus all season long has to bode well for the future of this university in terms of the brand, in terms of a product that is now going to be one. We've always been one of the more popular places for a student in Virginia and the region to go to. You have to feel like that brand is even increasing more now, and it's going to see even more people start to apply for this great university.
well, and you think about 2 years ago, we had 19,000 people that applied. This
Wow.
year coming in, we had 37,000.
Wow.
This
That's amazing.
early admission period, when it ended, we had 29,000 applications. So we're only 8,000 short of last year's total for applications. People, we are on, not everyone loves sports, right? Let me just say that out loud. Sports and going and becoming an R2 national university together at the exact same time have put us on this rise. Like I've argued, we've been like this. We did this in the last 4 years.
Wow.
And you look at how many people want to come here because they've seen us.
Yep.
Yeah.
ESPN's been talking about us, not just for game day, but we've been on their minds 2 seasons in a row. There are people from Texas and California and other places that maybe had never heard of us before that now we're like first or second on their list. We're not a backup. We're not a safety school. We're not that. We're a place where people want to come.
Well, and I'll give you an example of what that looks like from some people who are not into athletics. I was in an a cappella group when I was on campus at Exit 245. We have our 25th anniversary
Humble brag.
concert next weekend.
Humble brag.
Hold on. There's a reason for this. But there were a number of guys who I was in the group with who I know have never been to a football game, but caught the wave of seeing all the attention that JMU was getting and have now said they're not going to come to a football game, but they're talking about coming back to campus for the first time in a while because it was a trigger to them. It was a reminder of like, I do need to get back. And I think there's probably a lot more than just my kind of Exit alumni group text thread. We're going to make plans to come back to Harrisonburg, going to shop in the restaurants, going to go around town, and that's going to have a big impact on this university going forward. And I think it's just something that we should all celebrate. And it's because a lot of your efforts and a lot of the administration's efforts to make this such a great place to come back to each and every year. That takes resources. It takes investment. You all do it every day. And not only the investments of money, but the investments of your time and talents. And just don't remember to hear it's appreciated. We're just grateful for all that happens on the campus and for giving us a place to come back to so often.
Yeah, well, I'm proud of this place. I've told people all the time because it's very nice. I get lots of compliments from people about how great the work is that we do. I am doing the thing I want to do on this planet in this job. And I'm doing it at my favorite place. So the fact that every day I get to go to my dream job and do that every single day with amazing people to serve amazing students, I don't know how many people get to say that. I mean, you don't get to say that. I mean, maybe you all do, but every time I say it, people are mad at me.
Yeah.
Because I'm living my best life. I'm living my life purpose doing
I love
this.
that.
And when I think about the people that I get to do it with and how we love this place and love what we get to do and love what we get to create for current students and the future, I just don't know many people that get to do that. So I'm going to do this as long as Jamie will let me. And it's amazing to be part of this community, watch the rise that it's on. You know, there's always the, you know, Sun Belt on the rise. We are rising up and we're bringing the Sun Belt with us.
Yep.
And I think that we're going to compete with everybody nationally from here on out. It's just a great place to be a part, and time to be a part of this place is just incredible.
Yeah, Tim, I just want to say thank you for everything that you've done. So, you know, and continuing to do with the student body. Because I mean, I graduated in 2015. I could have never dreamed of the current situation that we have right now on campus. Like seeing the students this rabid, seeing them this engaged in athletics and just on campus, you know, spirit. I don't know of another school in the Sun Belt that has what we have.
I'm not sure about another school. I'm going to be that guy. I'll be a homer here for a second.
Hey, you're on a podcast for homers,
Yeah.
by homers, so please, the floor is yours.
Tell me another school that's on the rise we're on.
Yep.
Not in Sunbelt,
Yep.
in the country. Who's done what we've done for women's sports? Who's done what we've done for men's sports? Who's done what we've done academically? Who's done what we're doing in the admissions world? Like, I challenge you. Find me a school.
And you add that to the pride we already have as a
Right.
community. And I think I said this on another podcast. You can go into Utah and Florida up to Maine, and if you say "Go Dukes" to someone, they're gonna say it
Right.
back with pride. There's only one
Absolutely.
university that can do that.
Right.
So I mean, it's amazing. I think to your point, the students now really getting involved, drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit at such a young age. I mean, I don't know if we talked about this, but Zach, the student we just had on, just joined the Student Do Club
Amazing.
like last night.
Yep. And
That's
Tim,
massive.
I don't know how much you've been able to watch, but one thing we've really tried to do from the beginning of this is to give an opportunity for all of our guests, but also for us as individuals to remind people of what support means to
Right.
JMU. Do you have a message to somebody watching this who's saying, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, I want to get more involved with JMU, I want to make more investments? What are some of the ways, from your perspective, as somebody who's on campus every day, that people can help to support JMU, continue this upward momentum, and sustain this growth?
First, I would say, I mean, I appreciate what you all have done. Like there wasn't a thing, you all created a thing. Right now, there's this space, and other people are like, oh, I'll do the thing too.
Yep.
I'll do, you know. So one, I think if you're wondering, just do something. Just raise your hand. I think about simple things. It's not even just about money. It's not about that. Do you hire at your company? Do you have a role in that? Think about, we have all these students graduating. We have a 96% placement rate for our graduates for the last year that we
amazing.
counted.
Yeah.
96% of our students had either a job or grad school 6 months after school. That should be 100. I'm not saying 96 isn't great,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yep.
all of us have jobs in our companies, in our communities that we could do with. How do you mentor a student while they're still in college? How do you help a student with an internship? We all have something to offer. It doesn't have to be about gifts. Like, not all of us can give big chunks of money. The last thing I'll say is just showing up. I think just showing up on campus. Like last year, my team told me I went to 420 events on campus.
Wow.
We could all do that. Every time you're in town, don't just come to a football game. Come to the Dancing Dukes recital the next day, since you're already here. Go to see Exit 245. Go to see a group while you're in town. So why not do an extra thing? You know, so we all went to the basketball game. Great.
Yeah.
Did we also go to the football game? Great. Did you also go to this thing? All those pieces, showing up is such a big impact for our students, and showing up and showing that you care for them is what each of us can do very easily. And having that presence and giving of your time matters so much.
Awesome. Well, Tim, thank you on behalf of all of us, and to all of you watching, thank you for your support. I guess, do we have Taylor? Yeah, come on in.
Yeah, come back.
We'll sign it off. Bring
Thanks,
everybody
y'all.
back.
Nice. There you go.
Thank you, Tim. Go Dukes. Guys, it's been amazing.
I think we got a game today.
We have a game today.
We had a game.
Again, thank you to everyone who participated in today's live stream. Thank you again to Chandler Fortune. I'm going to say it 1,000 times.
Yep.
Without you behind the camera
Amen.
doing what you do,
Yes.
100%.
this doesn't happen. So thank you, Tim Miller. We had Jeff Polglaze come up
Yep.
and his wife. We had Carol Bonassi talking about JMU Nation.
Yep.
Just an awesome day all around, and looking forward to what I know is going to be a good day today. The sun is shining. It's going to be a good day for Be a Duke.
Yeah, what you gonna do, Chanticleers? What you gonna do? You're gonna get owned. That's what you're gonna do.
Awesome.
So love
I
it.
love it.
On
I
that,
love it.
Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Go
We'll see
Dukes.
you there.
Chandler, take us out.
Go Dukes.